How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Stormworks. Once again, as you can tell, we're in our train bay. Last time I was with you guys, I showed you the nuclear train that I built and had been driving around. Today, I have some free time, so I thought while I'm waiting for the little missus to message me because we're gonna have some hangout time today, but I know she's got lunch with a friend, and it's 11 o'clock right now. I haven't heard from her yet, so I'm assuming I got a couple hours. But anyway, so I decided, since I got the nuclear thing down pat, now I want to see if I can get steam. I want to see if I can get steam down pat. And I started. I'm gonna be honest with you. I started building already, and then I went, shit. This should probably be a video because I don't really know how steam works. Well, I know how steam works, but I don't know how steam works as far as the locomotive side of it in Stormworks. So I have a lot of ideas going through my head, and anybody with ADHD knows when you get an idea in your head, it just manifests and spins so far out of control. Like I'm thinking huge water storage, I'm thinking huge coal storage, I'm thinking steam boilers, I'm thinking huge amount of wheels. Like I got 3 wheels on here, but I built a controller for 4 wheels, so why not go with 4 wheels? So I'm just thinking. My brain's just spinning, and it's like, okay, I gotta do this. I have a limited amount of time. I only have a couple hours, which is usually how my videos end up, anyways. But we're gonna get into this, and I already started, so I'll load up what I got so far. I am calling this my Empire class steam locomotive. So you can see I've already got the basic shape of a train. What I've done so far is I started with the base. I started with four steam drive wheels on the back and 3 on the front. I think all of these count as like 1 wheel because they're all driven by this. So I think this only counts as, I mean, it counts as 4 wheels plus 3 wheels. But I think as far as when I hook up my controller, I only have to monitor the slip of one of these and one of these. But I'm going to monitor the slip of 2 of these and 2 of these just to be safe, or maybe 3 of these and 1 of these just to be safe, because I'm going to be adjusting throttle for the wheel sets, and I'm probably going to adjust them independently. I'm probably going to have a throttle adjustment for these guys, and I'll probably have a throttle adjustment for these guys that are all hooked up to a main throttle up here. But I'll have separate adjustments because I think these are going to slip differently. I think these are going to have more grip than these. So when these slip, I don't want it stealing power from these. So I'll probably use 2 controllers, and I'll probably have 2 sets of valves. I'll probably have a throttle valve for back here and a throttle valve for up here. But like I said, it'll all be connected to the throttle valve in the cab. It'll all be running off of that. So I got the basic shape of a train going so far. I needed a ladder, so I put it on this side because I had already decided my window's going to be over here and my coal storage is going to be over here, which I haven't programmed my coal storage that well right now. Close that off. And my boiler's right here. My furnace. So I can scoop from here to here, just like that. Scoop, 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 scoop. And at the back, I can fill here. So it's a pretty decent sized storage, as you can see. I do want to turn all of these off so I don't accidentally throw shit in there that's not supposed to be in there. You only really have to do this on the 2 ends that are accessible, because nothing else. You can't really deposit into these without some way of depositing into them. So I want this coal only, and I want this coal only, just to make sure that only coal gets in this system. Okay, so I have my boiler installed. I don't have any piping hooked up yet. I do have the boiler in there, and I'm gonna need things like a condenser and all that. I got to figure out how to provide electricity. Because even a steam engine in Stormworks is going to require electricity. You're going to need power to fire up the box, because there's no such thing as a lighter. You don't have matches in Stormworks. So I need power, because you see, if I switch to my power, oh, where's my oh, I thought this required power. What? It doesn't require power? Oh, it just requires ignition. Okay, it's a push button ignition. It's like the barbecue. Push button ignition. All right, well, I'm okay with that. I thought it needed power. Excuse me. That said, I will have pumps on here, and they'll need power. So I have to figure out how to get power without a turbine, because I'm not going to have a turbine in this thing. It's just going to be a steam boiler creating steam to run the pistons, or to run the wheels. So I have to, like I said, I have to figure out, without a turbine, how am I going to get power basically out of nowhere. And the thought occurred to me to use solar panels, but solar panels are so inefficient in this game. They're actually ridiculous, and kind of useless. So I am kind of at a loss as to what to use for power generation. I don't want to use a motor, like a diesel motor or anything like that. Now, I should. There is a way, and I'm gonna just set this aside for just a second. There is actually a way. Let me go get it. This was one of Mondo's tricks that he figured out, and I haven't really looked at it other than running it and seeing what the hell happened, because he kind of went glitchy. I think this is that. Oh, it's too big for the area. Damn. Where is it? This one? It's this one. Oh, but it works off of being spun. It doesn't work off of steam. Shit. So what this does, and it's weird. This is his build. I can't take any credit for this. What this does is it runs a motor. This motor here, this medium motor, and the medium motor turns these three small motors. So the medium motor spins these three small motors. You can see them here. This motor here, and the two motors beside it. And what that does is it creates heat friction. And that's how he heats up his boiler, by spinning motors. So he uses this one motor to spin these motors, and by spinning these motors, he creates heat via friction. It's actually pretty impressive. Let me spawn it in. This is one of his generators. He had me look at it because he was just showing off, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's really cool." So, wow, my game has gone into slow-mo. Oh, because of that. Yep. So he's more into displays than I am, as you can see. His displays are crazy. But yeah, so he gets this one motor, this one medium engine, and you get, wow, my game is just chugging. So he gets this one medium engine, and you throttle it, throttle her up, and I believe it's got auto controls, so I can throttle it all the way, and it'll control itself. So throttle's up, and then look at these engines spinning. The engines are spinning 39, 40 RPS, and look at the coolant. The coolant in and out, 290 in and out. Look at the boiler. The boiler's heating up off of these. And the interesting thing is, look at the throttle. Throttle of the medium engine. It's coming down, coming down, coming down. As these spin up, as this heats up, the throttle starts coming down on the engine, on the medium engine, and we're trying to make steam. We're getting there. But you're going to see these numbers on the front start changing. So you see the heater temp's going up. The heater temp is the motors. So the motor temperatures are going up, going up, going up. Coolant flow going up. Everything's going up. You see the RPMs going up. Look at the temperature. 74, 75, 76. Look at the throttle over here. 35, 34, 33, 32. So the faster these get going, and the more temperatures they put out, the slower this thing has to move. It's backing off, backing off, backing off. And look at our boiler. 75 degrees. We're almost making steam. Temperature's climbing, climbing, climbing. We're at 100, which is enough to create steam over on this end. So we're basically going through flushing that hot water through the boiler to heat the boiler up. And there we go. Look at that. We're making steam. This sucker's cut right back. Look at the throttle. 0.9, 0.5, and it's done. It's shut down. It's shut down. And we're making steam. And then it picks up again. But look at the throttle. 0.5, 0.4, 0.3. Look at this thing spinning up. Look at this spinning up. Steam turbine spinning up. Turbine spinning up. That motor's barely running now. And on this end, we got outputs in the hundreds. 150, 160, 170. Climbing, climbing, climbing. And remember, that's times 4. So it's that number times 4. Climbing, climbing, climbing. We're not even at full output yet. Look over on this end. Look at that. Look at it. It's just sipping fuel. Sipping, sipping, sipping. Look at that number. Just sipping fuel. And all it does is when the temperature starts leveling off here, it'll give the motor a little kick. And it'll heat it back up again. But look at the generators; they're outputting 1,000. The generators are outputting 1,000, and look at the fuel usage. I can't make this up. It's literally sipping fuel. This would run for days on a small tank of fuel. I think that's all it's got. Where's the fuel? Where's the fuel storage? There it is. So look at the fuel tank. Just sipping. Barely any fuel coming out of there. As opposed to, a regular engine. Look at the throttle. 0.4. And remember, throttles go up to 100. It's running 0.4. That engine is barely turning. just sipping, sipping, sipping. That's all it's doing. Sipping fuel. And the thing is generating power. 265 stable out of each generator. That's insane. That's ridiculous. He's using diesel to create steam. Anyway, that's not what I was looking for. I was actually looking to see if I could have these motors spin by the steam, and I don't think there's any way of doing that. I don't think I can pump steam through the motor to get it to spin. That's just not gonna work. Shoot. So I have to figure out a way to get rotational force out of steam without using the boiler. And I don't, or not the boiler, without using the turbine. Because I don't want a giant massive turbine in here just to run a teeny tiny small generator. So, how can we do that? We have steam pistons. I could have a steam piston running a small generator, but I think these things are... Yeah. I could have that spinning a small generator. But then I'm losing power. I'm losing steam. And I don't exactly know how these work. Do you have like steam in, steam out on both sides, or how do these work? I've never used these. Steam out, steam out. Okay, so you have 2 steam outs, and you have 2 steam ins. What do you do? Do you vary them? Do you like... Does it work like a combustion engine? You put steam into one and then you pump steam into the other? Is that how they work? Or do you just have to provide steam and it'll do it for you? I don't know how they work. Anyway, I guess I'll put one... Maybe I'll put one like over here. We'll hook a generator up to it and I guess hope for the best. Go like that? I guess we can go like that. Yeah, I should have steam there. So we'll hook that up and we'll put a generator on it. Just a small guy. And hope for the best. I mean, that's the only way I can think of recharging batteries. On a completely steam engine. So, I mean, if this works, it works. If it doesn't, I don't know what to do if it doesn't. So, we'll have our steam out, which is our coolant's coming in the bottom. Our steam out's on this end. Excuse me, Jesus. And then over here's our steam water in from the boiler. Or not from the boiler. That's our water in from our return line. So this is our return line, and this is our out line. So that's kind of the way I wanted to have it set up. So return line on this side, where the and then the steam comes out this side, so I can actually use it down here. Okay, so if I got steam coming out of here, I'm gonna need a couple of valves to begin with. I'm gonna need a few valves actually. This is gonna be a valve machine. This is gonna be an absolute valve machine. So our steam coming out, and I'm gonna paint these lines gray because it's steam. So I'm gonna paint them gray. So we got our steam line out. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna paint it my regular colors. So from our firebox, we have air. You can see we have air, coolant out, coolant in. We have exhaust out and air in. So our air in is pretty simple. We'll just put a thing right here for our air in. That'll be the easiest thing we could possibly do in this build right now. So we'll put a pipe. Let's go to white for now. So we'll put a straight pipe on the top here, and we'll just put a filter on it. Actually, whoops, air. We'll put a... I was just going to put an air filter on it, but I'll put a scoop intake on it. Just like that. We'll put a scoop intake. We'll worry about other stuff later. Now, gas. I want a gas filter. Because I don't want water coming down here. So I'll put a gas filter in. And what if water gets in up here? It's going to sit in that middle pipe and clog the air. So, thinking ahead, we're going to tee this off. I'm going to need a T-pipe. So we're just going to do a quick T-pipe right here. Okay. This is that's exhaust. This is air. Okay, so the air's got to come in this side, so that's fine. We're good right now. So we'll put a gas valve on this side. So only gas. So gas can go this way, and on this side we'll put a fluid. Where's our fluid valve? Liquid relief valve. There it is. So we'll put our liquid valve on this side into a one-way, because we don't want anything going in there. So we will directional. Oh, I got it right here. Sorry, got it right here. And I think this is the right. Why don't I switch to my air color so I can see what the hell I'm doing here? This is the color I use for air pipes. Is kind of a pinkish, or not pinkish, but it's kind of a whatever you want to call it. It's like a skin color almost, I guess. Okay, so we're just gonna turn this, and we're gonna have it exhaust right here. Fluid. I don't want a nozzle. I want just a fluid port end. Let's go with a not a pump. I don't need a pump. Fluid exhaust. There it goes. We'll just put a fluid exhaust there. So if water comes down, it'll just dump, which is fine because there's no floor here. There's nothing holding it in, so it just dumping is fine. But you know, if I want to make this really clean, I shouldn't dump it there because that might put particles. I might get water particles in the cab if I start sucking up water from. I don't know if rain can suck up water or whatever, but you know what? I'm not thinking Stormworks right now. I'm thinking real life. So I'll put my fluid exhaust down here, and that way, you know, if water gets into the intake, it'll pump it out the tires. So that's fine. I'm good with that. All right, now our air hose has to come this way and then turn up. Whoops, up. Come this way. A couple of straights. And hook that up. That was a little more complicated than I anticipated it being, but there you go. We have air into the firebox. Making up for any kind of issues that could happen, like water getting in the air tank. So if water gets in, it'll just flush it out. Otherwise, the air will go to the firebox. So we're good there. Now exhaust. I'm gonna make this as train as I can be. So exhaust is definitely not gonna just come out right here. Exhaust is gonna go to the front of the train, where there's gonna be a stack, because stacks are cool. I don't care what anybody says. Stacks are cool. So that's what we're having. You want to see this thing coming from miles away. You want to see the giant black smoke stack, just belching fire. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna run this pipe all the way to the front of the train for our exhaust, and we'll have the stack, somewhere around here ish. But I'm probably gonna shrink this down before I get to the stack. I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit, so I should probably bring this down right about there. Bring it down like 1 or 2 blocks, just for building of the train body. So we'll come down a couple of blocks here, just maybe 2, and then we'll finish it off. So there, and then it's really hard to see the black on the bottom there. Okay, so we should probably have. Oh wait, rotato. Okay, we'll have this come to maybe there. We'll have the stack about there. That looks good. We'll have the stack about here. So whoop, I hate when that happens. Undo. And we'll have the stack come up like here. And maybe have an out around there. Have the exhaust right here, like so. Then we'll build a stack around that so it actually looks, train-like, train-ish. Actually, I could probably do that right now. Give me my white back. Just gonna build this out temporarily, like so. Up temporarily. Well, I say temporarily, but oh, there's a little missus. She's off to her her lunch date with her friends. So we're kind of right on schedule here. I did a fool thing. I did a fool thing the other day, and I basically slept away our evening uh, accidentally. I came home and had a. I sat down on the couch and I was like, wasn't even thinking of taking a nap. Wasn't even thinking. I knew I was tired. I felt tired, but I wasn't even thinking of taking a nap. I was like, no, you know what? Me and my boo are going to spend some time together and play some video games, and it's going to be a nice evening and all that. And then me being a damn fool, I sat there too long because I had a rough day, but I had a busy day. I shouldn't say a rough day. I had a busy day. But I sat there for too long, and next thing I know, I'm waking up and looking at my clock, and I'm like, ah, shit, because it was at that time it was close to midnight. It was almost midnight. I was like, well, she's going to be a little upset with me because we didn't spend the afternoon together, and I wanted to. I really wanted to, but yeah, it ended up working out in the end. Anyways, she went with her. She went with the kids to see some cars. We don't live in the same area. I should tell you that. She's actually long distance to me. So I should mention that. I should mention that she's long distance. So when I say that, she grabbed the kids and went out, you're not picturing her being pissed off and like storming out of our house with the kids. But anyway, she went. She went to a car thing with her kids, and by the sounds of it, they had a really good time. Like a regular, I guess it's a regular Saturday evening car show kind of thing that that the locals put on in her area, which is really cool. I mean, we have our drive nights as well, but we don't really have them every Saturday. But it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that they do. They appreciate their automobiles. So there's kind of looks like a stack, eh? So yeah. Anyway, I'm happy she had a good evening because I was kind of afraid that that I had ruined her evening for her by falling asleep and not spending time with her. So I'm really glad that that didn't happen. But like I said, I I don't want that to happen again today. I want to be available. So when she tells me she's available, that's my cue to pack up and say sayonara. I gotta go. So until then, we'll play some Stormworks. Until then, but when I get the notice that she's back home and available, I'm gonna be saying have a good day. Guys, when you care about somebody, you want to spend time with them, and I really do. I really do. Being long distance is hard. It is. You don't. I mean, if we weren't long distance, yesterday she would have came with me probably, because I was out looking for some a dress suit because we have an event coming up. So, and I was completely lost in the clothing store. I shouldn't say I was lost. I couldn't find anything that I was happy with. I couldn't find anything that fit right. You know, women uh, can probably get behind that. You just walk into a store and you're like, there's nothing that fits right. Nothing feels right. It doesn't feel like you. You look in the mirror and you're like, yeah. Why does this show me as a pudge? That's what I was. That's what I was saying to her. I was like, these dress shirts make me look like a freaking beach whale, and I wear at work. I wear. I guess it's kind of a dress shirt. It's a mechanic's shirt, but it's fitted nicely and it tucks in and all that stuff. And I'm like, why when I walk into say Walmart or something, and I go to their section for Um, I go to their section for clothing, and it's like everything that's in that section just makes me look like Shamu. It does not fit right, and I really wish I had the finances to go get a nice suit, because I think a suit. Um, I love wearing a suit. I don't wear suits because that's not the life I live. Um, but I would be totally happy in, you know, three-piece suit, just a nice dress shirt, a nice coat. You know, I love it. It makes you feel like $1,000,000, especially if it fits good. And and a lot of the places that I know, or that I used to go to, um, they made sure it fit good. Like anytime I've gone for a suit, usually because of a wedding, which is, you know, the event that we're actually attending. So so usually when I have an event like a wedding, you know, you go in a suit, you go in something really nice, looks wonderful, and it makes you feel like $1,000,000. Like I said, it makes you feel like an absolute $1,000,000. It's like this is what it feels like to be a man. You know, you get that feeling. You just get that feeling. It's like this is what it feels like. This is what men feel like, and and you don't get that feeling normally on a day to day. You know, it's just one of those feelings it's very elusive on the day to day. So, and I'm one of those guys where you know, I look at the what was that show? Uh, what was that show that was on not too long ago? Binders or something like Peaky Binders or something like that. I think it was called. I forget now. Where they had all the old dressed up outfits and all that stuff. Oh man! And even the women nowadays were going crazy over that. Not that I not that I really care about that. Other than my fiance, of course, I want to look my best for her. But yeah, I'm not looking for looks from every woman out there. But you know, feeling like $1,000,000 is feeling like $1,000,000. It's worth its weight in gold. It really is. And man, the old styles that men used to wear, they made you feel like $1,000,000. That's why men were men back in those days. That's why men had confidence, and men had, you know, uh, the wherewithal to run a family, because they felt like it. They felt like men. Men felt like men. And I mean, it's hard for a guy to explain to a woman what that's like. Um, but I mean, I could turn that around and say, you know, when you when you're all dressed up as a woman, when you're all dressed up and like you're decked out to the nines, you know, you're decked out to the nines. You got everybody's looking in your direction because you look so amazing, and you're just like, and it's just you. It's you. You know, you're feeling like you, and it feels good. You know that feeling? Well, that's the feeling that men get when they're in a suit, tie, you know, all dressed up and looking their best, and especially when their woman looks at them and says, "Wow, you look good." You know, because men like that too. Women aren't the only ones that want that kind of acknowledgement that, hey, you spent some time getting dressed up and all that. You look great. You know, men want that too. Men want that acknowledgement, or not that acknowledgement, but men want that comfort that comes with just being acknowledged that, wow, you look good. You know, men love that. Men crave that, just as much as women do. Just as much as women. So, and I usually point that out when I'm having a conversation with female friends, which for some reason I do get a lot of female friends asking me for advice, because I don't know if it's because I'm older or because uh, I'm well traveled, as they say, which, you know. I haven't had the easiest of life. I've been through the turmoil. I've been through the heartache and the pain and all that stuff. Um, that's actually looking pretty nice. I'm not a train designer, but hell, that's looking good. But anyway, maybe I am a train designer. Anyway, so yeah, I am not what they would call, a romantic or anything like that by any means. I am completely, totally opposite the spectrum. You know, women didn't even look at me. I don't even think they still look at me. But but like I'm saying, you get to that point where you feel like $1,000,000, and you just want to feel like $1,000,000, and it's so amazing when you do. It's just so amazing when you do. Um, and that feeling, that acknowledgement from, especially from somebody you really care about, like your spouse, that acknowledgement of, hey, hun, you look amazing, is even for men will kill for that feeling. Uh, like seriously, it's such an amazing feeling, and women know this because women killed for that feeling too. That's the chief complaint of a lot of women, is that their man doesn't acknowledge, when they look good. Um, and I mean, I always try to do that. I always try to do that for my woman, because she does look amazing, uh, especially when she gets dressed up. She looks phenomenal. Uh, and I find it funny because, one of the um, when I first took an interest in her, uh, she was not, um, she was getting a lot of attention from other guys. When I first got interested, and I basically I brushed her off, sort of. I didn't brush her off. I was really nice, and that's actually what she remembered about me. Uh, when we started talking, eventually started talking before we got together. She was like, I remember you. You were like really nice. You didn't judge me, and you were very honest, and had a lot of good advice. And I'm like, yeah, okay, you know. Um, I didn't know at that time that she was seeking a relationship with me, or that she found me affectionate, because I don't I don't see women in that way. I don't see women as being attracted to me, and that's, one of my own hangups. But anyway, like what I'm saying is, when my woman gets dressed up to the nines, she looks amazing, because she looks amazing when she's not dressed up to the nines. Uh, I mean, guys will trip and fall over her, as far as I'm concerned, or at least they should be. Um, but it's one of those things where, even she, with the way that she is, looking as phenomenal as she does, um, and not needing any effort to do so, even she will say, at sometimes, I just take it for granted. I take it for granted that she knows she looks stunning, and I shouldn't do that, because there's points in time where she's like, you haven't, where she feels like she's not, and that kind of that yeah. There's the old saying, and they put it to a song. She doesn't know that she's beautiful, and that's true. That's absolutely true with a lot of women out there. They don't know they're beautiful. And the ones that do, the ones that know they're beautiful, are so conceited about frickin' knowing they're beautiful that you can't stand them. But it's the ones that don't know they're beautiful, who actually truly are beautiful, that you kind of have to reassure them, or not reassure them, but you kind of have to acknowledge. You kind of have to acknowledge it, and you have to let them know. You have to let them know. Uh, and the more you let them know, the better, because that just reinforces the fact that, you think they're beautiful, and that's all they want out of you. They want acknowledgement that you care about them, and that you find them attractive. Uh, this is turning into a therapy lesson, which I don't mean to do, But you know, I got on the topic and away we go. That's how things always work here on this channel. we I randomly get into a topic and away we go. But no, you know, so if you're with a woman, uh, the best advice that I could give you, regardless of what kind of man you are, because there's big burly men out there who are like, I'm not gonna show my emotions, and that's fine. You know, I've been hurt too, uh, but I will never stop being who I am. No woman out there will ever stop me from being the man that I am, and and that's the one thing that a lot of these guys have forgotten is that the person that you're punishing when you say, "Oh, I'm never showing my emotions again," the person that you're punishing isn't the woman. She's gone. She's out of your life. You know, that woman that did that to you, she's gone. So who are you hurting? You're hurting yourself, bud. You're hurting yourself. You're not showing your emotions, not being vulnerable, yada yada yada. You're only hurting yourself by doing that. That they, you know, and you're hurting your current partner by doing that. Because I was like that for a while too. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to close myself off. I'm not going to feel anything anymore. I don't care. You know, women suck. Da 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 da. I was like that, and I still have to fight that. I still have to fight that. Not every day, but I still have to fight that. If I see like if I'm browsing, you know, Facebook or something, and I see some feminist going off, I really really struggle, and sometimes I fail, but I really really struggle to try not to step in and say, hey, you need to check yourself. You know, I try so hard not to do that because I know it's gonna fall on deaf ears, and I know it's just gonna take my own energy. It's gonna sap my energy, which is better used in other things. So, I mean, it's kind of like why try to teach a fool to, you know, why try to teach a fool how to not be a fool? They're already a fool. If they don't want to correct that, then it's going to show on them. It's not going to show on you. So what the hell does it bother you for? You know, just let them be a fool. People will see them as a fool, and you won't have to worry about it because they'll out themselves. Fools always out themselves. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Um, so yeah, um, I'm totally down with women saying to a man, you know, you look phenomenal, and then getting that reaction from their man that says, you know, that says, wow, thank you, thank you so much for you know for saying that for reinforcing my emotions. Thank you so much for that. Um, that is to a man. That's huge. That is huge. If you want a man to fall head over heels for you and stay that way, that's all you got to do. All you have to do is acknowledge their feelings, and that man will do anything for you if he's a good man. If he's an asshole, you know, there's no correcting an asshole, unless something tragic, something extremely tragic can correct the behavior of an asshole. But it takes a lot. So I mean, take it with a grain of salt. I'm giving you advice based on the fact that uh, I've been told that I'm a good man. Do I believe it? I don't know, but I've been told that I am. So that's where my advice comes from. You know, if I have somebody telling me that I'm a good man, then I guess I can believe it. Um, I really I have my doubts because there's times where I've gone and been the one who's ignored a partner, or been the one who's, you know, stormed off at the end of an argument and and did not admit my my part in it, my part in the argument. Because whenever there's an argument, there's always two sides to every argument, and whether you think you're clean or not, Every single argument has two sides to it, and there's two people to blame. There always is. There's always two people to blame for any argument. If it's gotten to a point, and you know, you have that argument, don't just blame them. Don't just blame them. You got to blame yourself too, because you're involved. Whether maybe you're pissed off at them because they didn't do a chore or dishes or something. You're having a fight because they never do dishes. Well, maybe there's a reason that they don't do the dishes. Maybe they would rather do something else. Maybe there's something else that you could get them to do. Maybe you can compromise. Maybe you can. There's a tons of ways. Dishes is not a valid excuse to have a fight. That between two people who actually care for each other, dishes is not a valid fighting excuse. I am sorry. It is not. I don't care how you feel about it. It is not. It is a piddly shit thing to fight over. Uh, Dishes, laundry, when the grass gets done. These are piddly shit things to fight over. Uh, you know, the things that are worth fighting over was like you slept with another person, or you were overly tough on our child, or our child was choking and you just stood there. Those are things worth fighting over. Those are things worth fighting over. The things that aren't worth fighting over are frickin' household chores. Those aren't worth fighting over. I'm sorry, they're not. They're not. If one person's not pulling their weight around the house, you sit down and you have a conversation. You don't have a frickin' fight. It makes no sense. That makes absolutely no sense why you would have a fight over something like that. It's stupid. It's childish. It shows immature, childish behavior. So, I mean, comment as you will on that topic. Um, I honestly don't care what your opinion is. Uh, when it comes to that topic, when it comes to any topic that's like that, I honestly don't care. I don't. You could say all you want. Oh well, you must be a shitty husband. No, I'm actually not. I'm actually not. Um, I've put in the effort, and I've been there. I've put in the effort. I put in the uh, the basically the effort. Like I said, I've put in the effort. I've been there. I have done the do everything around the house and get no credit for it. I have been there and done that, and I have been okay with it. I have not bitched and moaned when I was the only one doing dishes, and when nobody was making me supper and I had to make my own supper, when nobody was doing my laundry and I had to do my own laundry. I've been there. Or no, I should say nobody would do my laundry, you know, but they would expect me to do all the man stuff. They'd expect me to go out and mow the lawn. They'd expect me to snowblow the driveway every single morning before going to work. I had to make sure that driveway was cleared, regardless of what happened overnight. I would have to get up early to do that. I was in charge of all the house repairs. I was in charge of all the vehicle repairs, all the car repairs. I did all the oil changes, all the battery charging, all the filters and everything like that. I did changes the tires. I did all that stuff, all of it, and I couldn't even get her to make me dinner every night. I couldn't. I couldn't. Once in a while, she'd make a pot of chili because she wanted chili. Once in a while, and I like chili, so that worked out for me. And I always raved about her chili. Um, every time somebody talked about it. But um, the point being, I was in that relationship where I was the one who did everything, um, or I should say, did everything for myself, because no matter what I did, it was never acknowledged, and she wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do anything for me because she always thought that she was the one doing everything when she actually wasn't. So I was in that position. And you know what? I lived with that position. I didn't take off. I didn't get pissed off. I mean, I'm pissed off now because that relationship caved in, and To this day, she's never acknowledged what I did for her. So I mean, that pisses me off. But while I was in the relationship, doing all these things for myself and doing all these things for her, I never complained. I never had any complaints. I never said to her, "Hey, it'd be nice to come home to a cooked dinner." When I'm out working all day and then coming home and doing all the man stuff at home here, plus doing all my laundry because you won't do it, and all that stuff. It'd be nice to come home to a cooked meal. It really would, but never happened. Never happened, and I never complained about it. Like I said, while I was in the relationship, never had a single problem with it. After I left the relationship, I had a problem with it because her whole reason for dumping me was that she felt like we were roommates because I never did anything for her and never did anything she wanted me to do. Excuse me? Excuse me? So, and then she got pissed because I asked for the engagement ring back. I'm sorry, you don't get to keep an $800 ring. You don't get to keep an $800 ring when you're the one breaking up with somebody. No, I don't think so. You can go kick rocks. And she was pissed at me for that. I said, you know what? You're the one that broke us up. I didn't break us up. So, but like I said, there's two sides to every story, and I have to take my own blame in that relationship because I never said anything. I didn't say to her, it'd be nice if you did the dishes once in a while, or I feel like I'm doing everything around here and not getting anything, not getting anything in return. Um, so I just need some acknowledgement that you're gonna start pulling your weight around here, and it never happened. And I was even paying her rent. I was paying her rent for crying out loud. I shouldn't say paying rent. We had a set amount that I said I would help her out with for her household bills. I said I will take care of any bills that come into this house because we weren't married. We weren't married. We were engaged, but we weren't married. So and it was her house. So I said I will take care of any bills that I am responsible for. For example, if I choose to get better internet, um, she used the internet too. But I was like, if I choose to up our internet because I like fast internet. So I was like, if something along those lines, if I choose to up our internet, which adds an expense, then I'm going to take care of that. In addition to what I was paying her as what I thought was a fair compensation for living there, and it was at that time. It was. I don't know if it would be today because rents today are fucking ridiculous. Uh, but I was paying her a fair compensation. Um, to help her cover things, you know, like the expenses to help her cover the expenses that were added by me moving in with her. So, um, I mean, you can kind of look at it as, it does sound like we were landlord and tenant in a way, um, but in reality, we were actually a couple just working things out. To be fair, so that was my deal with her. I gave her money to cover bills, and whatever money I had left over was mine to spend. And normally, because I'm the person I am, I would spend it on the house. Uh, so like improving the drainage system or improving whatever needed fixed at the time because I'm the man of the house. So it's my responsibility to make sure that everything is up to snuff and working. And that's the way I look at it. So when I look at it as that, then I kind of I don't expect her to be the traditional wife who's home with kids and has everything done by the time I get home. She was working. She worked during the day too. Uh, so I didn't expect that from her. I expected her to pull her weight, like to at least do 50-50. But I didn't get that. So and like I said, uh, I take my own and the whole reason for this conversation is the fact that I take my own blame for that because I never spoke up, I never said anything. Now, I wouldn't have started a fight over it, of course. I would not have started a fight because I don't believe fighting is the way. Um, Fighting is never the way. Sitting down and having an adult conversation is the way. Um, but really, when when you sit down and have a conversation, an actual adult conversation, you get more accomplished. When you argue, you get nothing accomplished. That's how I look at it. And I know, again, I know I'm kind of on a little bit of a rant here, um, and I don't really mean to be on a rant. I'm just I'm just saying there are certain things in this world that are worth fighting over, and there are certain things that are not worth fighting over, and stuff like dishes and all that. It's just stop, stop fighting over that stupid shit. I always ask myself, I say, if you're gonna fight over dishes and something, you know, look at it this way: if that person wasn't there, if they weren't there, would you still have to do that? Of course you would. It wouldn't be as much, you know. I could take that argument. I could accept that argument. There wouldn't be as many dishes, or there wouldn't be as much laundry, but you'd still have to do it. So just grow up and do it. And if they're not doing their part, that's when you step in. Like if you're the one doing everything, and when I say that, I don't mean your perception. I don't mean your perception. I mean if you are literally the person that is doing everything. Because there's a perception that you're doing everything, and then there's the real life that you are doing everything. Those are two separate things, and people get them confused a lot. So if you actually are doing everything, and they are doing nothing, and like I said, when I say that, I mean it's not a perception; it's the actual fact. That is what's happening. Then you can have an adult conversation. If you're just at the point where I don't like doing this, then you have an actual conversation about, hey, how can we rectify? I don't like dishes for one reason or another. Um, can we do some adjustments here to who's doing what? I'll do dishes if you do laundry. You know, that's an adult conversation. That's a conversation between two adults who are interested in working out their problems or interested in working out the problem that they're having. Or just say, you know what, I feel like there's I feel like I have too much on my plate. Would you be willing to, take this off my plate? You know, maybe it's not that you don't like dishes. Maybe there's just too many of them, and you need to have that conversation. Maybe you don't need an extra cup. Maybe you don't need to have 5 cups a day. Maybe can you just please just rinse the one that you're using and then come back to it later and use that one again. you know or if you are going to use, you know 5 cups a day, can you please take care of them, and I'll take care of the rest of the dishes. That's another way of looking at it, or another way of compromising. Adults compromise, children bicker, adults compromise. So there are many ways that you can talk to your spouse without tearing them down, uh, to say things like, I would really appreciate it if you would help me out with this, because this situation isn't working. Uh, there's many ways of doing that, and adults will talk about stuff. Children will whine, bitch, and complain, and then eventually run away. so so you have to kind of determine what you are. Are you an adult or are you a child? That's basically what this whole conversation comes down to. I don't even know how we got into this conversation, honestly, but we're here. So I'm still working on the steam engine, and I'm kind of trying to beauty up the inside here while I'm at it, because I want the inside to be closed off from the outside. I really do. and I think we're doing a good job of doing that without it looking like it's without it looking broken. And I mean, I realize the wheel kind of cuts in here, but I'm okay with that. It's not. I didn't put flat blocks because it would be cutting in too much, but it cuts in just a tiny bit there, and I'm okay with that because you're probably never going to see that. But damn, I think this is looking good. I am liking the look of this. Jesus. I should probably fix this though. This is bugging me just a tiny bit here. So I'm gonna just kind of correct this corner here and make it a nice smooth transition around the corner. So yeah, anyways, that little rant I went off on, sorry there, but I just ended up on the topic and I had to say my fill. Uh, and the reason I got on the topic is because my boo messaged me, and I feel bad about ignoring her yesterday. Well, I shouldn't say that. I didn't ignore her on yesterday because if I was ignoring her, I would have been doing it on purpose. What I did was I fell asleep, and unfortunately, didn't get to spend time with her because of that. If I was ignoring her, it would have been more like I didn't want to spend time with her and purposely, avoided her, which isn't the case because that's not something I do. Adults don't do that. You have, like I said, you have conversations. So if I was in that position, where I was, say I was really focused on a Stormworks build, which I don't consider a valid excuse to ignore your spouse, but let's just say that's where I was at. That's where my head was at. I was having a really good build, like I am right now, and my brain just said, you know what? I don't want to spend time with my I call her my boo. I don't want to spend time with my boo today because I'm having such a great time in Stormworks and yada yada yada. I don't want to spend time with anybody. I just want to play Stormworks. Now, if I was in that situation, um, if I was in that situation where I wanted to play Stormworks and I didn't want to hang out, uh, or I shouldn't say I didn't want to hang out. I'm going to put it in a different way, um, because I do want to hang out, even if I'm playing Stormworks. I would love to hang out. I always want to hang out with my boo. Um, but so say I'm in the situation where I'm on a really crazy build, like it's going super good, like this one is right now. I'm not going to do this today because of yesterday, but just so you're aware, I am dedicated to my boo today. Um, but let's say I was having a really good build like I am right now, and I really didn't want to stop. I was like I am on such a high right now that if I stop, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna completely lose this high that I'm on, and I'm not going to get it back. If I was in that position, I would explain it to her. I would say, look, I really want to spend time with you, but I am on this extremely amazing build right now that is just going so phenomenally good that I feel if I stop, I'm going to lose my steam. And now, a woman who's absolutely not worth your time is at that point going to say, you either spend time with me or bad things are going to happen. That's what that kind of woman would say. A woman like mine, who's actually amazing and worth every single second I spend with her, um, she would say more along the line, especially if we just spent time together yesterday or whatever, or if she herself had stuff to do, um, she would say something more along the lines of, you know, that's great, have fun, enjoy, because she knows as well as I do that hobbies are an important way to basically keep your sanity. Spending time together is great, but hobbies are also worthwhile, as long as you're not overindulging. As long as you're not overindulging, and by overindulging um, I mean as long as you're not completely neglecting your significant other. That looks kind of cool. That's going to be our gate. I was going to put just railing. I was just going to use railing, but then I was like, I can make that out of pipes and make it look nice. So when it's closed, this pipe will match up to that, and this pipe will match up to that, and it'll look like an actual closed gate. When it's open, I'm actually going to have it swing past this. I'm going to have it swing so it's this way, so it's completely out of the way, and will let you in. And then I'll have a double toggle. I'll have a toggle down here to open it, and I'll have a toggle up here to open it. Maybe here, something like that. It'll be out of the way so it's not pushing you, so it's not hitting you when you open it on the top. But anyway, so I am very happy, like I said, to spend time with my boo today, um, and that's how we kind of got on that topic. That's kind of how we got on that topic. I'm pretty sure that's how we got on the topic. I was like thrilled to spend time with my woman today, and sad that I didn't yesterday. And then kind of got into the whole conversation of how to properly be an adult with your spouse. We'll call that the ladder gate, ladder safety gate. Call that the ladder safety gate. So yeah, I am 100% excited to be spending time with her today, and basically when she's done what she's doing, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to get as much done here as possible, but we might not get this build completely done today, and that would be the reason for that. Would be I'm going to go spend time with her, like a good boo should. I swear we make people sick sometimes with our commentaries. Okay, so I'm gonna put a small battery, just tuck it in the back here. For this, I'll hook them all. I'll have this battery back here, and then I'll have a main battery up front. But this battery is basically going to be just for this gate and stuff. Because I gotta hook these up like this, like that, like that. And then I gotta come in here, and I gotta do this to that, and I gotta do this to that. And then I gotta edit this. So, wait, is it negative or positive? Which way is which? Positive is open. So when the button's clicked, I want it to go +1. When the button's not clicked, I want it to go -1. Alright, so button clicked, on, I want it to go +1. Off, I want it to go -1. Okay, so it'll swing it'll swing both ways. Alright, so that should be working. We'll give her a quick test here, and this will be the first time I've spawned this in, so we'll get to see how it looks. Ooh. I like it. It definitely has to have paint. It definitely needs paint. Because right now it's the white ghost. Okay, so our gate is closed. Press the button, and our gate swings open. Look at that. I love that. Look at that. That's so cool. That makes me happy, man. That is so cool. I love that we can do things like this. Okay, and then the okay, so I have to go up. I have to go up at least 1 block here for the driver's seat. I'm gonna have a side console here, so the driver's actually gonna be sitting this way, looking this way, but their controls are gonna be here, right in front of them, right here. So I'll have the like the throttle controls and all that stuff. I'll have brakes. Maybe I'll have the brake here and the throttle on this wall. Um, but by the looks of it, I got to go up one. I got to go up one for that position. So that's a good thing to know. Um, that position's going to be 4 wide. So what I'm going to have is a wall here. It's going to be right here. And that wall is going to have all the goodies. I wanted to leave that little opening there in case I got to put something there. This wall's going to have all the little control goodies. And then, of course, I got the firebox on this side so I can shovel coal, shovel coal, shovel coal, shovel coal. And then I can sit here and control the train from the control seat, which is going to be, like I said, it's got to go up a step. So I'll put this in like that. Okay. And then to get up there, I'm going to put a little stair. We're going to undo that. I'm going to put stairs right here. Just this step here, like so. And then we'll round the corner here like that. Okay, now we're going to have a seat. That seat's going to be right here. So I need to come up a block. I think that'll... it might be tall enough. We'll put the seat in there and see what happens. I realize we're not done with the boiler or anything yet. I just kind of want to get this position set up. Because it's going to be our testing position, and I'm going to start putting in controls, so I need to know where those controls are going to go. Alright, so open our safety gate. I love that. And then our seat. We're in our seat. Is this going to need to go... This should probably go 1 block higher when we're sitting down. So, let's get back out of here. Back into here. Although I think if I do that, I think our feet are going to be off the ground, because I think a seat is... I think an actual seat, which I don't want to use here because they take up too much space. So an actual seat, yeah, your butt is that high. So if I want to make this window, if I want to be kind of centered in that window, I have to go up 1 more block when I'm if I want to be centered when I'm sitting. All right, so let's do that. Let's take that out. We're gonna do this and make this platform a little bit bigger. Make this wall a little bit bigger. And we're gonna go up 2 steps. So grab our stairs here, and we're gonna go up 2. So our top step will be, yeah. So we'll have step here and step here, like that. Up into this upper section, which I can actually clear that. Clear that. Step there. Fill this in. Actually, before I fill that in, I'm going to take out this, because I can put microcontrollers under this floor if I want. So we'll leave a hole there for any microcontrollers we want to throw in there. Always leave little spaces, so you can have a place to stick your microcontrollers. You know what? I don't want my seat that close to the window. I want it maybe here. The reason I want it here instead of there, is that going to be too tall to walk in, or too short to walk in? That's the question. Let's get a door and see what we got here. Do I have to go up at the roof? I hope not. I don't think so. No, we're good. We're good. Okay. If you ever need to know if a player is going to fit through a space, pull out a door, because that'll tell you instantly if there's enough space there for a player to stand. That's my trick of the day. Okay, so we have our elevated seat, which should be perfect now for sitting. I'm gonna put in another window right here, so I'll have 2 sides I can look out of here and here. I should probably make that there just to kind of make it a little nicer. We'll do a 4. We don't have 4x4 windows, do we? Do we have a 2x4? We have 2x4s. Oh, that's angled. Do we have a straight 2x4? I don't know if we have a straight 2x4. You son of a bitches. We have 3x3s. Damn. We don't have a 4x4. Actually, there's a lot of windows I have noticed are missing. And it kind of annoys the hell out of me. There's quite a few windows that are missing. Specifically, and this is what I don't get. This is why I don't understand. We are missing windows that we have pieces for. We're missing windows that we are missing. We have pieces for, which I don't get. For example, we have a 2x2 slope here, or we have a slope here that is 2x1. I should say 2x1. Did you know that we do not have a window that is 2x1? We have 1x1s. We have 1x2x2, which is actually it's 1 block wide, but it's 2 blocks long, so it doesn't fit that slope. So we don't have windows that fit that slope. There is not a single window in here that fits that slope, because everything is straight on a 45-degree angle. All of our sloped windows are on 45 degrees. See? 45-degree angle. Look at this window, 45-degree angle. And we come down here to the diamond windows. They don't fit either. Next one. They doesn't fit either. Look at 45-degree angle. Let's go to this one. 45-degree angle. There's no angle that fits that degree or that shape. So they give us these cool shapes, but they don't give us windows to fit them. And even these windows, 45 degrees. All the windows are 45 degree. I don't know if they did that because they couldn't figure it out, or like even these ones. Look at these ones. It's on an angle. See? It's a diamond, but look, 45 degrees. And if you look at it this way, 45 degrees. Both of those angles are 45 degrees. And both of these angles, 45 degrees. I mean, I don't know if they couldn't figure out windows that weren't 45 degrees. I don't know if they could figure out reflection or what the problem was. But every single window in here, 45 degrees. See, even these diamond ones, even these ones, 45 degrees. You look at it this way, look at it from this side, 45 degrees. Look at it this side, 45 degrees. You go bigger. Let's go to the bigger one. 45 degrees. 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Everything is 45 degrees. Everything is built to fit these. Every window is built to fit these guys, these single blocks. The 45-degree angle on the single block, or the 45-degree angle on this triangle. Every single window is made to fit these blocks. They're not made for the stylish. These, we have no windows that fit these. We have no windows that fit these. Not a single one. And that pisses me off because it's been so long since they've given us these kind of parts. I should say there's been a long period of time since they gave us these parts, and we don't have windows for them. You have no windows that fit these. The best we can do is like do a trim, like, you know, like put something on the side like this and then have the flat window behind it. That's the best we can do. So I mean, if you want a slender cockpit, if you want an aerodynamic cockpit that's, you know, along this line here, you can't have, because we can't have glass that's on that follows that angle. You can't have glass that goes up on that angle. It's stupid. I don't know if the modding community has fixed that problem. I personally don't go into the mods. As far as game changing mods, I've never actually looked at them. So, which is kind of weird for me because normally I'm all about that. Especially for survival games. If I'm in a survival game, you can bet I'm going to the workshop and seeing what they got. Ark is a huge one. The Ark Survival Evolved. I think our latest server had something like 100. No. That's our Minecraft server has like a couple hundred mods. Our Ark Survival's Evolved server, I think, had, God, how many mods did it have? It had a lot. I want to say, because that's a game that kind of has issues if you put too many. And I think we had it up to somewhere around, I want to say 32 mods, 32 mods, something like that. We had that up to. So, I mean, yeah. For me not to have looked at the mods for Stormworks is kind of surprising to me too, but it is what it is. All right, so we still have this open. We still shovel coal from here to here, here to here, here to here, just to keep the fire stoked. Um, the firebox is another thing that I'm kind of pissed off at, because this firebox only has access to expansions off its friggin' front side, or off its top side, I should say. The only coal expansion, or the only coal adder, the only way to add coal automatically is from this top port right here. That's it. So you have to. So your firebox, basically, if you want to put coal directly into your firebox, the only way to do it with a duct is to have some butt ugly shit like this sitting on top, like that. I mean, you can't even really cover that up. Well, you can, but then it's then you're boxing in your firebox. Because I could put that there, make a slope off the bottom, and kind of fill it in. But why would I do that? Why would I do that? When I could very easily just have my I could very easily have my things here come out one more block. I could have it connect right here. All I need is one more of these right here, and I could go through the side, and I wouldn't have to have it on the top. So I don't know why their fireboxes are so damn limited. They only have the one input, and it's on the top. They should have an input on the sides and the bottom. Like, I don't know, why can't they think of these things? I don't understand. I don't understand why they can't just come up with these ideas on their own. I am no rocket scientist. But even I look at that firebox and I go, okay, well, people are going to want to put coal into that firebox automatically. The only way to do it's from the top, which is kind of stupid, because that limits your build designs like crazy. So, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. Anyway, that's my rant on that. So our cab is looking pretty nice here. We should probably get back to doing the actual steam um, part of this train, because I'm making it look nice before I actually have the damn thing working. And that's kind of par for the course for me. Um, that's when the ADHD is kicking in. That's when when you start jumping from job to job to job, and nothing's getting done. So, okay, I have my coal storage looking all right now, and I have my little seat where I can start putting controls. So we're good. We're good. Now let's get back to the guts of this thing, because right now this train is all looks and no go, no movement. So we have our steam boiler, which we're gonna have to put the hot water into. So our hot water pipes are down here. This is gonna be a very simple connect. We're just gonna go one side that way, one side this way, and we'll run both of our pipes back and into the firebox. And that's how we're gonna connect this sucker. So just like that, and like that. Come on. Come on. Give me there. There we go. And then so we have the coolant out, and we have the coolant in. Now, I should put pumps on these. Um, Even small pumps I should put on here, just to make sure the coolant actually moves and doesn't sit there. So I'm going to do that right here. I'll put the pumps here, just so they're accessible and easy to get to, which, is what the word accessible means. Which one was out? I don't think it matters, but... So this is in. Okay. I don't actually think it matters, but once again, my brain likes to follow the rules. That has to be going that way because it has to. Even if it doesn't have to. Maybe in the future they'll have it for... See, this is just coolant A and B, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which is which. But this is in and out, so I want them facing the right directions. Okay, so we have our firebox connected. We have our water flowing through the firebox into our steam turbine. So now we can make steam. Okay, this guy here is going to be a side project. So I'm gonna do what you do with side projects, and for the moment I'm gonna move it off to the side because that's what we do with side projects, right? Right. So it is coming up and out, and I will work on how to do this in a moment because I don't even know how to do this. I have no idea how this even works. So that's going to be kind of a little bit of trial and error, but for now we'll paste it up there just so I remember that I have to do that. Okay. So now that we're making steam, I'm going to need to control the steam. And I'm going to need a condenser to turn the steam back into water. So we're going to have our condenser in here, and I will probably put it a little ways away from the boiler so I can put piping in. I have room here for pipes. So this is the steam out. This is the steam in. So that's actually a good thing that we have them facing each other like that. Because what I'm going to do, steam out is going to be dark blue. That's my hot steam, and this is my cold water. So I have hot steam, cold water, so I can tell them apart. So my hot steam is going to come out, and I'm going to fire it right into the condenser. I'm gonna come off of this, probably on both sides, because I'll use the steam for different things. So I'll have a split there, and I'll have a valve there. So we need a valve here. This is going to be our pressure valve, basically. What size is fluid in? Okay, perfect. So this is going to be our release valve. If we build up too much pressure, it's going to dump the steam directly back into the condenser. And our condenser is also going to have some secondary piping hooked up to it. If I can find the right pipes, let's go. Pipes. Okay, because we're going to use steam for other things. Whoops, that's not the pipe I want. I want the cross pipe, this one. We're going to use our steam for a bunch of other things, so we're going to have to split it off. We're going to have to split it off. We can't just have everything going straight into the condenser because then we can't use it. So we're going to have useful steam coming off here. We're going to have steam that we can use for things coming off of this split, and then this will be our feedback into the condenser to cool shit down. And I put the condenser on backwards because those are supposed to be at the bottom. So let's swap our condenser right now. I don't really have to worry about the direction I'm going to put this because I already know, because I just placed it, I already know if I put it like this, steam in is going to be on that back side. But I need to rotate it this way so I have my coolant pipes on the bottom. There we go. Okay, so I have steam in over here. This side should be the water out. Yep, okay. And then down here are our coolant lines, which we'll have to figure out how we're going to cool this thing. There's a few ways to do it. So we'll have to look at those. I am thinking that of having a couple of water tanks, a couple of freshwater tanks, feeding back and forth, and maybe having some radiators built in to the side here. If I can get some radiators built into the side here to radiate out the heat. I might try doing that because there's actual radiators, and it's not those radiators. I need to go down to the fluid section. Fluid. Okay, here we are. There's actual radiators. There's flow-through radiators. There's an air-to-air heat exchanger. There's also air-to-water heat exchangers, which would be all right. There's cryo coolers, which the cryo cooler is powered, so I'm probably not going to go with that option. There's these fluid heat coolers, which this is basically a radiator type cooler, but this radiator cooler here does not have fans. These ones do. So this one has a fan on the back, which will help cool. And I went on my tirade about fans before, but where the fans are located. This is more like an actual car radiator because I could spin this around, and that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. It should be like that. And if you're going to put a fan on, it should be on this side. But that's the way a car radiator should look from the front. It should look nice and clean. And you Stormworks guys, you need to get on that because that pisses me right the hell off. That you guys don't know how a radiator works. Anyway, so then we have these liquid-to-liquid heat exchangers down here, and that might be the way to go. That might be the way to go. So if I have a fluid tank, okay, if I have a fluid tank on a liquid-to-liquid heat exchanger, and I'm pumping the fluid through that, and then I also send that fluid through just a regular heat radiator like this, something that's just going to exhaust heat, doesn't need a fan on it or anything like that. It's just going to radiate. If I have a radiator cooling a tank of water, and then I use that tank of water to cool my steam, I think I can keep the temperature down without adding any major power, other than of course pumps, because I'll need to pump the water around. But other than pumping the water around, I don't think I'll need to actually do any additional cooling in that case. Now, I wish there was a liquid. I wish there was just a radiator. Oh, wait a minute. Here, there is fluid heatsink. Here we are. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Because it's gonna radiate the heat out, and I can put this right on the side of the train, and it might actually look cool on the side of the train. So give me a second here. Let's undo. Let's do this both sides because I want to be symmetrical here. So let's take this side off here, which I mean I kind of should be working with the side off like that anyways. And let's put our fluid heat exchangers like this. Let's put our radiators on the side like this. Ooh. That looks bad. And by bad I mean good. That looks badass. I'm here for this. I'm definitely here for this. Okay, so that's going to be our cooling system. We've got a hell of a cooling system now. And the reason I did it on both sides is because I'm going to be floating that water in both directions. I want that water to get really cold before it gets back to the steam boiler. So I want the condenser to be cooled right down as much as possible. And we're going to send that water through those ports there. So I'm going to have on the condenser, or at the end of the condenser here, where our water out, we have our water out here. I'm going to put a tank right above that. Now this is our steam water. This is not our water to be cooled through the coolant system. This is our steam water. So I'm going to put a tank up here, but I'm not going to connect this tank to that port there. Instead, I'm going to run this tank. Oh, actually, I should put it. Can I put it sideways without? No, because they did. That irks me. It's 3 this way, but it's only 2 this way. So you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put it attached to the roof. I'll put one there, and I'll put one there, and they can just deal with it. I'll put a water pipe between them, Okay, we're going to make sure these are set to water. Fresh water, fresh water. Okay, now, this is coolant, so as I was saying before, in my last video, I work for Toyota as a mechanic. I'm a Toyota mechanic. In fact, I'm now a Toyota professional mechanic because I just went and took my pro training. But anyway, in Toyota, coolant is pink. So I'm going to paint these water tanks pink so I know it's coolant. And that coolant, I'm going to cycle through the bottom of this. But first, we have to go through our cooling system. So I'm going to take a pipe. I'm going to actually turn on symmetry here because we got two identical sides. Whoops. And we're going to bring that to the wall. Erase that. We're going to bring that to the wall. Okay. We're going to send it down to our last radiator down here. Our last heat radiator. Send her down here. And that's going to be that side of the loop. Now, we're going to connect this up to here, this up to here, connect this up to here, this up to here, this up to here, this up to here, and then at the end here, we have to have this come out here. I'm not going to have it go down into the channel yet because I have steam lines that are going to have to hook up here. So I want to leave the channel as open as possible until I get those steam lines in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually bring it across the top here and have it shoot back that way. Have the two lines shoot back that way. Whoops. I need two lines, so I got to leave space for the second line. Okay. So we'll fire those lines back to the cooler here. Whoops, too low. Fire those lines back to the cooler, which it would be cool if I could just have them go in there, but no, can't do that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little pipe magic. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to hide my pipes. So one pipe I need coming down here. This is going to be, again, these are coolant, so it's just coolant A, coolant B. So I'm going to take that out, and on this side, over here, whoops, I'm going to take this out. Here, here, and here. We're going to play hide the pipe, which sounds like a dirty game. Oh, actually, I didn't need that bottom one. No, I didn't need that bottom one. Okay. I need that open for steam pipes to go through. So let's close that bottom one back in. There. Okay. Because our pipes are going to come like this. Our pipes are going to come like that, and this one's going to go like that. Okay. I have a straight pipe here, straight pipe there, and now we play hide the pipes. Actually, yeah, I have an opening there, so I do have to play hide the pipe. Okay. So we'll turn that white, and that's the right direction, so we'll hide the pipe there. And that's the right direction, turn it around, hide the pipe there, and then we do two straights. Two straights. So straight up like that, straight up like that. Okay. Our one water pipe. Oh, I guess I didn't have to have them out that far. I didn't even have to have them out this far. Okay. I'm good with that. Yep. Alright, let's turn symmetry back on for this. We're going to grab our... get out of that mode and grab our corner. That corner there. That corner there. We'll run this pipe from back there to up here. Okay, one more. One more. And then we will turn them like so. Okay, so we have our coolant system all hooked up now. So the water is going to come from these tanks. It's going to flow through our radiator system. It's going to go down into our coolant, and it's going to flow back out. And it's going to actually be cooled on both ends. It's going to be cooled before it goes in. So the one side
This one side is going to actually cool the water before it goes into the condenser. The other side is going to cool the water when it comes out of the condenser. So we're going to have double cooling here, which means these tanks aren't going to be the coldest water. These tanks are actually going to be medium water. So this here is going to cool. So it'll come out, it'll come up, do its initial cooling, go into the tanks where it'll sit for a minute and mix with the rest of the water, and then it'll come out and go back through and run through another set of radiators on this side, which will cool the water even more than it is up here, and then it'll flow back in through the condenser. So by the time the condenser gets done, it should have cooled the water, stored it for a couple of seconds. It's not these tanks really aren't going to store the water that long, but there's going to be, you know, some cool water up here, or not cool water. There's going to be kind of lukewarm water up here, and then over here it's going to run through and get its second cooling before going back into the system. I don't know if that's going to work. Logically, in my brain, it's like that should work, but Stormworks doesn't always function on logic. Stormworks definitely doesn't always function on logic. There's a lot of logic that just Stormworks does not get. So once again, we're pumping in and then pumping out, and up to the storage tanks. And I should probably put pumps on the other side of that so they pump, so they're not just, you know, one direction. Actually, I don't need pumps for that because we can do that on pressure. There's this cool little thing that they did in Stormworks, which is give us pressure. We now have pressure. So on this one side, I will have downflow. On this other side, I will have upflow. And what now happens is all this pump has to do is get that water past here. Once it's past here, it can't flow back again. So it has to continue flowing to this tank, because this pump is going to keep pushing water and pushing water and pushing water through this one-way valve, and that water can't flow backwards. So it's just going to keep pumping it in there. It's going to keep building up pressure, building up pressure, building up pressure until the water actually moves. So as long as we have this here, and as long as that pump can get the water past that point, we don't have to pump it the rest of the way, because the pressure of additional water going through will push the water back to the tanks. That's how pressure works. Eventually, there could be, if you have your system built completely backwards, eventually there might be too much pressure here for the water to actually push through. But because you have a valve there, it's actually easier for it to push water through than it would be if you had no valve there and we're just trying to force it up through with this one pump. If you're just trying to pump water through with this one little pump, you'd have trouble. But because there's a backflow valve here, it helps, because the backflow valve will basically close. It's kind of hard to illustrate, but the backflow valve in real world conditions, the backflow valve will close. It'll close, and then pressure will build up from the pump. The pump will pressurize this side, and then all of a sudden the pressure will be enough to poop, shoot some out, and then it'll close again. And the water that got shot out will be stopped from coming back because it'll close. And then the pressure will build up, build up, build up, build up again, and then all of a sudden, shoot, and then close. And then it'll build up, build up, build up, and then shoot, close. And it'll keep doing that as long as it can build up enough pressure to open the door, to open that little door and let some out, which is a lot less pressure than trying to hold back all this water. Or I should say, trying to force all the water through the line all the time. It's a little bit of a, I don't know if I don't know if I want to call it mechanical advantage, because it's not really mechanical advantage. It's more like hydro pressure advantage, whatever you want to call that. But it works. It works in the real world as well as it works in Stormworks. At least I hope it works in Stormworks. But it does work in the real world. That's actually, there's pumps that actually function on that basis. On that basis of of locking pressure and letting pressure build up. There's actual pumps that work on that process, but they have no electric parts. No electric parts. All it is a couple of flap valves that alternate and function and move pressure around. That's all they do. A couple of flap valves that just pop open and closed and pump water. And it's pretty phenomenal. I don't know if that would actually work in Stormworks. I wonder if it would. I wonder if you could build a water pump that works just off of these guys, the flow valves. I wonder. Because that's basically all those pumps are. I forget what the pumps are called, but that's all those pumps are flow valves, and they alternate. They alternate direction, and it pumps water up. It uses a flow. There has to actually be a flow, but it pumps the water up by alternating flow valves. I forget what the hell it's called, but I saw one. I saw an actual real one in action, and it was wild. It was cool. I was really impressed. But anyways, okay. So now we have our cooling system hooked up, which I hope does the job. I hope it does the job. We have our cooling system hooked up. Now we need to get our steam system hooked up. And our steam system is basically going to be a flow through. Kind of screwed up there. That's fine. You know what? I'm gonna do this in tandem because I can. So this is our water out, and this water should be cool. So I'm gonna use my light blue. This should be cool water. Oh, I actually want water storage. I want water storage. Yes, I do. So let's see what I can do for that. And I want lots of water storage. I want this sucker to have a ton of water. Looks like I might have problems because of those pipes. Unless I elevate them. I can elevate them. But I want this sucker to have a shit ton of water storage. Just like, believe it or not, there's a crap ton of water storage in an actual train. Or an actual steam locomotive, tons of water. Like a ridiculous amount of water. And just like in Stormworks, if you do put in too much water into your boiler, she will go pop. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually regulate the water in our engine. We're going to regulate the water in our engine, or in our boiler, I should say, because we're going to control how much water is allowed to go in there. We're going to control how much water is allowed to go in there. You know what? If we had a second, I wonder if a second one would be cool too. I mean, we're building a train. We got a shit ton of room in here. We got a shit ton of room in here. So I almost wonder if it would be cool to put a second one. A second condenser. That would make 100% sure that our cooling system's working. Whoops. White. And face down, right? Whoops. Stop that. There. So that's water out on the front. And then I have to do the coolant in again. For this side. I have to do another coolant in for this side. So our pump down here is going to be, wait, which side's which? I'm pumping into the back here. Okay, so I want to pump into the back on this side as well. I don't have to, but I want to, just to organize it. Okay, so we'll have it like that. And now this is going to, 1 sec, I gotta respond. Okay. Um, she's on her way home. Again, not to my home. Unfortunately, we don't live together because she's long distance to me. One day, that is the goal. The goal is one day. Take it a day at a time. But we have countries between us. Unfortunately, it's not just a matter of distance. We have two countries between us, and those countries are having complicated relationships right now, which is making our relationship complicated. So, uh, what can I say? All I gotta say is Trump. That's all I gotta say. Everybody knows I'm a Canadian, but all I gotta say is Trump. Now I don't hold her responsible for anything that Trump is doing, of course. She has no control over that, and she didn't vote for the idiot. Uh, so she is unfortunately caught in the midst of the situation, and I'm really hoping that Americans do something about it soon, because it's not a nice situation for us to be in. Uh, I am not comfortable going there, even though I do. I'm not comfortable with it, because I know any minute I could run into some tyrant who is like, "You're not an American," and da 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 da, make my life a living fucking hell. Uh, Pardon my French. Uh, I have heard stories, and I mean, some people might say, the second you hear a story, it's hearsay, but these are people that I know. So when I say I heard a story, it's to me, it's firsthand information. It's not hearsay, because I know these people who I talk to about this stuff. I know these people who have been in these situations, and who have had this happen to them. Uh, so nobody can tell me it's hearsay, because to me it's not hearsay. To me, they're telling me it firsthand. It happened to them, so it is not hearsay. Um, and the stuff that I've heard up to this point doesn't make me want to go into the States. Um, one of them, one of my, I'm just going to call him a colleague, a work colleague, um, went across the river. He does not have any kind of he does not have any kind of bad reputation. He doesn't have any kind of he's not argumentative. He's not the kind of person who will stand up and go, "Hey, you're inflicting my you're messing with my rights, man," and da da da. He's not the kind of person who will do any of that. If anything, he's kind of a pushover, and lets people get away with shit. And maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's how he got in the situation he's in. Um, but yeah, they stopped him at the border. They did a quote unquote random search of his vehicle. A random search. They call it random. They say it's random. They did a random search. Oh, and by the way, the guy is Indian, not Native American Indian. He's East Indian. So they did a random search of his vehicle, and that's what they called it. They called it random search. Um, and they had him there at the border for almost 2 hours. 2 hours, basically tearing apart his car, and he hasn't done anything. All he did was decide to go to the States for the day. That's all he did. He didn't do anything. There was no suspicion of anything, because there was no suspicion that he had done anything. They never give him an explanation of why they pulled him in. They just said random search, random check. This is a random check. So they took apart his car, basically. And I say took apart. When I say they took apart his car, I don't mean like they dismantled it. But they did go through it. They took everything that was in his car, like whether it was garbage, whether it was Um, it could have been like the manual in the glove box. They even like everything loose that was in his car, in the consoles, in the middle, in the center console, just laying on the floor, in the back, in the trunk. Anything that was in his car that they could take out without dismantling his car, like without pulling a bolt, they took out and they laid it on the floor beside his car. They laid it on the ground beside his car. They didn't put any of it back. He had to put it all back when they were done. They just left it sitting there on the floor, on the concrete floor of their inspection freaking room. Um, yeah, they didn't put any of it back. They didn't give him an apology or anything like that. Like, sorry, we thought you were we thought this, or we had suspicion because we had word somebody was coming through, or they gave him no explanation whatsoever as to why they just randomly selected him, took apart his car, like took everything out of his car, and then just, oh well, we didn't find anything. Here you go. Bye. like like really? And you have governors that are quite literally begging Canadians to come visit the states, and this is the shit that's happening. And yes, they are East Indians, so there was probably some kind of racial bullshit there, which I wouldn't put past them. I wouldn't put it past them at all. Some of the biggest ass racists I know are people of authority. I'm not going to say Americans because I know racist Canadians, but they always seem to be in authority positions. They always seem to be in security positions, and I'm not saying everybody. I'm not saying all security people, but everybody that I know who's had a chip on their shoulder and thinks that they're better than somebody else has been in some kind of security or authority position. Um, and it pisses me right the hell off. Look at the water storage we got on this fucker.
All right, I'm good with this. We're gonna need a way to fill these tanks too. We're gonna have lots of steam, and we're gonna have lots of water, and we're gonna need lots of water because we're gonna end up using it. I'm gonna have a steam whistle, which you have no idea how much steam a frickin' steam whistle goes through. It is ridiculous. So we're gonna have a steam whistle, which is gonna use up some of our steam. I mean, even for a small blow, it'll use up probably 100 and some. I think it's liters. I think these are in liters. Are these liters or milliliters? But anyways, it'll use up whatever the water gauge is. The other day, I had my nuclear train. If you watch that video, I had my nuclear train, and I put a steam whistle on it, and that nuclear train had 100 and something, I think, water in it. And when I pulled the steam whistle to do a very short burst, it emptied it. It shut down the reactor because it had no more steam. And it wasn't even a long burst. It was like a short burst. It was like, and it was out of steam. The turbines were powering down and everything. It was ridiculous. I was kind of like, what is going on here? Where's our steam? So yeah, that was quite the episode of just watching how much water gets chewed up when you decide to blow a steam horn. It was an eye opener for sure. It was a definite eye opener. I was like, shit. All right, so we're gonna put more tanks in because I don't want to be running out of water in this thing. So we're gonna load it up, and like I said, if you ever get the chance to see an actual steam engine, or to sit in it, or you know what I mean. If you ever have a chance to do that, ask them how much water that thing uses. Ask them how much water. Ask them how much water the the train uses to fill itself, and you will probably be shocked. You will probably be shocked how much water is used in one of these steam trains. It is ridiculous. Now they don't function the same way. I mean, basically the whole basically this entire section is one giant water tank, and it has heat pipes that run through it like crazy to heat it up, and that's how the trains function. This whole section is basically your water tank, um, and like it'll have pipes running through it. Like the entire inside will be nothing but pipes that like run this way. So it'll be all pipes, like just hundreds and hundreds of pipes um, running through it, and those pipes are where the heat transfers. The heat goes through those pipes and through the water. Because, like I said, this would be a giant water tank. This whole inside would be a giant water tank with pipes going through it, and your heat is actually in a fire that's underneath down here. So the fire that's down here radiates upwards and heats the water that's up here, and then that water then forces or starts to convert to steam, and you end up with basically a giant steam tank, and that's how the real trains function. You ever get a chance, like I said, if you ever get a chance, there's documentaries on YouTube. I would suggest go watching a documentary of how steam engines work, because it's fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating, and you got to remember this technology when this shit was happening. This was not new technology, or this was not old technology when this stuff was happening. These guys were on the front line figuring out how this shit works. So they would try things. They would have steam engines that would blow up on them, and they would have steam engines that would not work, and they would have steam engines that broke down, and it took a very very long time for them to start figuring out how steam could be properly harnessed and how to get the most power out of it that they possibly could. And I mean, this is a completely different world. This is a completely different world than the world that we live in. The world that we live, everybody thinks the world we live in is hard. Um, the world we live in isn't hard. We have become soft, and I know some people will gawk at that, or will scoff at that. And those are usually the people that have no clue what the old world was like, or what time before was like. They have no experience with it. They have no idea what it was like. Um, and they're also the first ones usually to to look back at the great people of history and find fault with them for things that you really shouldn't be judging them on. Um, I mean, a good case, and I always bring it up, is the first Prime Minister of Canada. The first Prime Minister of Canada. Anybody know who that is? Anybody? Anybody? I know nobody's here right now, but I'm just making. Oh my god. So anyway, the first Prime Minister of Canada was Sir John A. Macdonald, and Sir John A. Macdonald is noted for his pictures on our money, or it was. It might not be anymore. I have not actually taken notice of whether it is or not. But you have all these soft jackass woke people, and I'm going to call them woke people. I don't like using their terms, but I mean woke is a term that applies. In fact, I don't actually call them woke. I call them asleep, because that's what they are. They're not woke. If you're woke, you would have to be awake. You would have to be awake to be woke. These people, their brains are asleep. Their brains don't function. Their brains do not pass go. They do not collect $200. They do not work. Period. Um, because if they worked, they would give people the proper credit that they deserve, and they would not be looking back on them as if they were monsters and tyrants. Um, So, for example, like I said, Sir John A. Macdonald, he literally built Canada. He built Canada. He was the one that came in and said, we need a railroad that goes from West Coast to East Coast. We have to have this railroad. Got to go from West Coast to East Coast. We have to find a way to make this country whole. And so that's what he did. He basically instituted, or well, and it wasn't just him. There was other people too, but he's the one that's often credited because he was the prime minister at the time. But this was the guy that said, we need to build Canada no matter what. No matter what, we have to build Canada. And he had the balls to do it. He had the balls to do it. And he was a slave owner. He owned slaves. Guess what? So did Abraham Lincoln. Guess what? So did pretty much everybody before 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 slavery was abolished. Um, so I don't know. I have a problem with today's people looking back in the past and saying, "Oh, this guy was a slave owner. We shouldn't be we shouldn't be celebrating him because he was a slave owner." It's like, fuck off. First of all, you're an idiot. Second of all, you're trying to put today's morals on people who didn't live today. You're trying to you're trying to moralize or change the morals of people who don't exist anymore. So you're saying they're immoral when back in their day you would have done the exact same frickin' thing because you have morals today that say slavery is wrong. Back then they didn't have the morals that said slavery was wrong. The only reason that slaves were freed, believe it or not, was because they were needed in the war. They were needed, and in order to get them to fight, in order to get the slaves to fight, they had to offer them their freedom. That was the only way. That was the only way. That was the only way that America would have made it through the Civil War, and that the side of Abraham Lincoln won. That's the only reason, was because they said we're freeing slaves. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to. It wasn't unacceptable to have slaves, but he needed them to fight. And I mean, I'm cherry picking history, of course, because there's a lot more to it than that, and I acknowledge that there's a lot more to it than that. But that's basically what it comes down to. Is it comes down to the fact that they needed slaves to fight in the war, and in order to get the slaves to fight in the war, they had to offer them their freedom. Plain and simple. That was it. That's the whole reason that Emancipation Proclamation, I think that's what it called. That's the whole reason that came to be, was because they were needed to fight, and that was the only way they were going to get them to fight. They didn't care if the country wasn't a country. They didn't care, any of that. That wasn't in their ballpark, but they did care about their freedom. So that's how you get people to do stuff you need them to do, is to offer them what they care about. So you offer them their freedom, they're going to fight. You take away their freedom, they're going to fight you. That's plain and simple. that's how it works. So anyway, that's basically uh, that's basically where we're getting into now. Again, we're getting to the point of, you know uh, people are turning into tyrants again. They're not keeping slaves, but they are infringing on the rights of others, um, for the sake of, I don't know, what's it for? Why are the rights of individuals being infringed upon, um, when it doesn't make sense for them to be infringed upon? There was no reason for my work colleague to be pulled over. He was minding his own business. He was coming to America to give you guys money. He was coming to spend money. That's why he was coming to America. Why are you coming to America today? I'm coming here to boost your economy. I'm coming here to spend money. I'm coming here to maybe buy some clothes, have supper, support the local restaurants. Oh, what? You don't want that? You don't want that? You're gonna stop us at the border and say we can't come in? Is is that what I'm hearing? I mean, the governors are begging for us to come over. The second we do, you tear our cars apart. The second we show up at your door, which is you invited us, the second we show up at your door, it's like go home, or we don't trust you. You know, we don't trust you, so we're going to put you through a whole pile of rigmarole to find out if we should let you in the country or not. It's like really, really. This is the way you treat the country that has been your friend for hundreds of years, who has gone to battle with you, battles that we didn't want to get involved in, but we supported you anyway. I don't know how many Canadians died in actions like Desert Storm, which were, American. That was an American thing. Don't you fucking dare tell me that was a Canadian thing, or a world war. That had nothing to do with world wars or anything like that. That was completely America. That was America getting uh, paying people back for what was done to them, which was payback for what they did to them. So I mean, the cycles go around and around and around. You do it to them, they do it to you, and then you cry about it, and then we come and help you, and then and then and then all of a sudden we're stuck in something for 20 something years or whatever, no end in sight, uh, and our soldiers are dying, and we're looking at you like, hey, what's going on? Why are we in this? What are we, you know? And you got nothing. You got nothing to respond. No response whatsoever. It's pretty sad. Pretty sad. Okay, so that comes out of there, and then this has got to loop back. So, and I know I'm touching on some touchy subjects here, but sometimes you need a splash of cold water. I mean, we have been your allies through thick and thin, and you treat us like shit. You have a president who treats us like shit. And when I say you treat us like shit, I'm saying that specifically because Americans voted him in. He didn't get in by himself. Americans voted him in. He didn't just magically go, poof, I'm here, I'm back. No, Americans voted him in. They wanted him. He's fucking up your country, and that's your own damn fault. I realize, like people like my fiance or whatever, they didn't vote for him. So when I talk about, you know Americans in that context, I mean, I'm excluding those who didn't vote for him automatically, because you know who you are. Um, but still, you have to face the fact that this is the guy you voted for. This is the guy your country voted for, and he's treating his neighbors, he's treating good people like shit, and he is basically taking the chains off of a whole group of people who are abusing their power. They're now abusing their power, and the whole reason they're abusing their power is because national security. A load of bullshit. National security. Security from what? That's what I want to know. Security from what? If you're gonna tell me that you're doing all of this for national security, hey, I got no problem with national security. You want to protect your nation? I think that's awesome. But you better damn well have a good reason for it. Other than, oh, well, we suspect something from this guy. We suspect this, we suspect that. That wouldn't fly in your own damn country, would it? That wouldn't fly in America. If somebody came up to you and said, I want to search your car for no apparent reason, just I want to search your car, you would tell them to go fuck themselves. You would start talking about your rights, your amendments, and all that shit, and you'd tell them to go fuck themselves. Which is, what I think my friend should have done. I think you should have told. I think you should have told the border officer to go fuck himself. But that's we all know what would have happened if that would have occurred. Uh, we all know where he would have ended up at that point. Um, but that's basically the country you guys are building is a country that nobody wants to go to because we're technically, or I shouldn't say technically, I should say uh, I, I should say exactly, we are afraid to go there. Canadians are afraid to go to America because we don't know what's going to happen to us when we get there. And um, saying that, uh, we have no way of knowing, or we have no way of preventing it from happening, other than not going there. Um, when you go to a border, when you go to a border like the U.S. border, U.S. Canada border, when you start talking to the person there, you are in their country. You are already in their country. You have made your choice, and you have crossed the border. If you meet somebody on the other side, if you meet a security officer on the other side, or not a security officer, but if you meet a border guard on the other side who is treating you like absolute dog shit and who is not respecting your rights, not respecting well your rights as a Canadian citizen would have in Canada. See, we don't have any rights. Once we hit that border, we have no rights. Our rights are gone. Um, as far as I know, we're supposed to have the same rights as any American, as far as human rights go, but that doesn't necessarily happen either. that doesn't necessarily occur. Um, so when we hit the border, when we come to visit your wonderful country, and we get to the border, we're already in the states. Uh, it's free game at that point. They can do whatever they want because we're in their country. Um, so when we get to that point, it's too late for us to turn back. When we hit that border and we're like, okay, this isn't a good idea because this guy up ahead, he's been talking to that guy for 30 minutes, and he's likely going to end up pulling us in. And we can't just say, okay, we're going to go back to Canada. You know, we can't get to the border and then say, oh, we don't want to cross today because you're giving us a hard time. We're in your country. You're we have to follow your rules. If you say we're going to take apart your car, we can't say no, we're going to go back to our own country. We can't. You know, we can't say screw you. I'm not putting up with this shit, and turn around and go back to Canada because, like I said, we're already in the states. We're already in the U.S. We don't have the option to go back. At that point, we've crossed the line. We're in your country. We're at your mercy. So there's a huge risk for us Canadians coming to America. It's a massive risk, um, because we don't know what's going to happen, and we have heard stories. And when I say heard stories, I mean factual stories from people who have lived it. So we have heard stories of these things happening. These to us what would be human rights violations. You don't have any right to just pull somebody over for no reason whatsoever. No reason. They haven't given you a reason. Your suspicion is not a reason. So they have given you no reason to pull them over, and you pull them over, and next thing you know, you got their car spread out across your garage, and you won't even put it back together. You tore it apart on them, and you won't even put it back together. You just leave all their shit on the floor, all their personal belongings. You just leave them sitting on the floor, and say, "Okay, have a good day. We didn't find anything. Have a good day. See you later. Welcome to America." Like, what the fuck? Would you want to go to a country that's going to do that to you? Honestly, honestly, ask yourself that question honestly. if you were going to a country where you know there was a chance that they are, and a good chance that they were gonna hold you for hours and take all your stuff apart, and you've done nothing wrong. You know you've done nothing wrong, but they're gonna hold you and they're gonna take apart all your stuff just just because not even they don't even have a suspicion that you did anything. It's basically at for my buddy it was a racist motive. And I could say it was a racist motive because he was East Indian and he was crossing into America. So the only reason they had to take apart his vehicle was because he's got a turban on his head. That's it. That's it. You can say what you want, but I know a lot of racist bastards in let's call it law enforcement. Even though it's not all law enforcement, I do know a bunch of racist bastards that are in law enforcement. I'm going to call it law enforcement. Really, it's not. It's the ones that I know. Some of them are in the security field. Like some of them are what we like to call rent-a-cops. I don't know if anybody's heard that term before. Well, you probably heard that term before, but you know what that term entails, or what that term means. Um, they have their security license and they think they're the hand of God. Um, so I know some people who have gone down that road of becoming the quote unquote rent a cop, and they turn into tyrants, absolute friggin' tyrants. Uh, Not acceptable, not acceptable. But it happens. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But anyways, my point being, why the hell would they ever want to go back to America? That's my point here. Why would these people who went to America to have a nice day, they went to enjoy themselves, they went to have dinner, do a little shopping, boost your economy. Why the hell would they want to go back? Why would they want to go back to America after that shit that's happened to them? And you got governors that are just like, oh my God, please, please come visit America. No, no, we're not coming to America if this is the way you're going to treat us. And I should say that my friend is not an immigrant. Well, he is an immigrant, but he's not what you consider an immigrant. He's not a recently landed individual. He's actually been in Canada for his family's been in Canada for probably 3 generations now. I want to say, like his grandparents are the ones that came to Canada. Uh, so he's been here a while, but he's East Indian. He wears a turban. Um, so there's a huge thing right now. There's a huge racist movement, and I know what started it. I know what started it. Um, Basically, the housing prices started it. Because immigration for the past few years has been literally out of control. Well, I just looked at that and I can't remember what the hell it was. Okay, that's my out. That's my Steam out. Okay, so my Steam in is the front one. So there's been a huge issue with housing lately, and that issue surrounds um, a bigger issue of immigration. In Canada, rent and housing prices have gone through the roof. I'm talking to ridiculous levels. Um, and with them at ridiculous levels, people are looking for someone to blame. Um, and I'm not going to say that they're completely blameless. I'm not because they actually are. But we've had a severe influx, and when I say severe, I mean severe. We've had a severe influx of uh, immigrants, most of them refugees, seeking assistance or escape from very terrible conditions. Um, so I can't blame these people. I can't blame these people. They're just trying to get out. And if I was in their position, I would be doing the same. So I can't blame these people for coming to Canada or whatever. The problem is we don't have the room for them. We don't. Um, it's great to want to help people, but you have to help people within your limits, and our limits have been exceeded, um, quite beyond exceeded. We have a ton of room in Canada, but we don't have the housing infrastructure to settle all these people. So we're basically bringing in more refugees than we can take in, and that is causing a lot of hardship for Canadians because now Canadians can't find access to affordable housing because there's now a housing crisis. We have too many people, not enough housing, and we've known it's been coming for quite some time because housing has slowed down. Housing has been slowing down for years, um, so we know this has been coming, but nothing was done, and that's what people are pissed off about. Nothing was ever done. Everybody, like the prime ministers who get in, and anybody who ever gets into office here gets into office always saying, we're going to fix the housing problem, but it doesn't happen. And the reason it doesn't happen is because politicians don't have control of the housing problem. You can only house as fast as you can build houses, and the housing market is affected by the lumber industry, and the lumber industry has not been having a good time for years. They were having a bad time, um, and nothing could be done to help that. you know, so it was kind of like a lose-lose situation. Whereas, okay, well, we need to build houses. Okay, well, we need the lumber to build the houses. Oh, okay, well, we need houses. It just kept going in a circle, um, and nothing ever happened. So now we're in a position where it's kind of like, okay, well, now we've run out of houses. Now there's actual competition for houses because there's just none. The housing market is so saturated with people who are looking to buy that the prices have gone through the roof. It is what they call a seller's market right now, and it is a very, very, very bad seller's market. Um, if you are, I would not want to be a person who's looking to buy a home in Canada right now. Okay, so my return lines are all going to be this dark blue. Dark blue for return lines. Oops, because they're still hot, but the steam has been spent, so we're gonna dark blue the return lines. So cold water is light blue, hot water is dark blue, and then spent steam is darkest blue. So we have our steam going forward to our front drives, um, and I wanted to get them lined in before I started doing controls on them. So now I have to work on the controls, and I'm probably going to have to take that middle section apart because I need to slip a control system in there. Um, so um, yeah, I need to set up controls here so I can adjust the steam to the front. I can do that easily right here. I have to just put a valve here. So this one's easy. Um, I just put a valve right here like this. Gotta make sure that's the outside. Yeah, okay. So I just put a little valve right here, and now I can control the steam into the front drive. Now, in order to control the steam into the back drive, I have to do the same thing. I got to put a valve in here
but I have to have the valve. I have to have the valve go here. So what I am going to have to see if I can do here is somehow I might have to go through the floor. I might have to use part of the floor. I don't know if can I use part of the floor? I can use part of the floor. Okay. I was smart. I was smart and made this so I could remove it. Okay. All right. So what I need here is a T. I need a T here. And this T is for the input for those for these on the sides. So I need a T input there. I need this to go under all of what I'm putting in here. So I'm probably going to have to do some kind of weird loop thing here. Um, how am I going to do this? I have to have, okay, I have to have this pipe. This pipe has to come out here and down. Like that. That has to come out and down. And it has to hook back up to this. But I need to leave space here. Enough space for it to loop back. So, I'll just do that. And then I'll have it come under like this. And have it come up here. And then tee off. I'll put a T here. Okay, so now I probably gave it more space than I need, but now I can actually work the system here. Okay, so that I have the arrow going that way, so that's good. After the split, I have to have an arrow going this way because I don't want it to be able to steal steam from. I don't want it to be able to steal steam from this line. Oh wait, no, I have to have this on this side. I have to do this here like that because I want both sides to have access to steam, but I don't want either side to take steam from the other. So we'll do that. Okay, now that we have that, we can put in our valve to control the steam to this back section. Is that right? Yes, okay. And then we'll have the steam go into the, okay. So we have steam coming down the blue line. So we have steam coming down the blue line and going into here, valve control, and we have steam also going down this line and into the front with valve control. So the valve controls here are going to be done. The valve controls here are going to be basically our throttle to our wheels. That's going to be our throttle to our wheels. So yeah, so I can control the throttle to the wheels here and here. Sorry, I just my brain's functioning a little bit slow here. So I can control the valves here and here to adjust the steam that's going out to the drives. Okay, and this will have full steam pressure unless it's being bypassed. Right. Okay, so yeah. So I have my steam bypass in here just in case shit goes sideways. I can keep my boiler pressure under control because, believe it or not, a boiler functions well at a certain temperature and a certain pressure. If you get too much steam, you actually lose efficiency and you risk blowing shit up. But I don't know if you can still blow shit up in this game though, because the boilers used to only go to 10 psi, but that was when they were only being used as generators. Since they put in the train stuff, like these train wheels and all that, now you actually need more than 10 psi. So they basically took the exploding boilers out. Boilers don't explode anymore, as far as I know. You can put as much pressure as you want into a boiler and she won't blow. But I still want to valve control things. I want to have control of my system. So I want to be able to control pressure release from my boiler to just send it straight through the condensers. I should probably put this on here just to make sure it doesn't feed back. So I have a pressure release on my boiler, so I can just shoot the steam straight out, and that way I don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about it building up too much pressure. I have the control over here. I have a steam valve control over here that will go to our generator. That's going to be generating power for our engine systems, because there's pumps and all that are going to have to run on electricity. Speaking of which, I got to put the batteries in for that yet. But there's pumps and stuff that are going to be running off electricity, and I'm going to need to be able to recharge that electricity. I'm going to need to be able to replace that. So while I'm thinking about it, right off the top of my head here, let's put in our batteries. I'm going to have a few up at the front here. 1, 2. I need enough so the pumps can run without running out of power, while the boiler's not actually producing any power. So let's put in 3. We'll hook those guys up. Look at all the logic on this already. Jesus Christ. We haven't even gotten everything all hooked up yet. We haven't even gotten it running yet. So we're gonna hook this up. We'll cross these batteries here. We'll hook this up. We got our valve here, which is gonna need power. I'll do that by connecting the 2 fronts, just so we have a loop there. I will connect to here and here, and then I'll start going down the side of the train with 2 power lines. And the reason I do 2 power lines down the side of the train, or down any build, the reason I put 2 lines down any build is because I have had builds that have taken damage, and it really sucks when all of a sudden you lose power to your entire freaking build, because one component got damaged. So it sucks. It is such a downer. It makes you just miserable. So what I like to do is I like to have at least 2 power lines running down the side of any vehicle. And I do this for every vehicle. You'll notice every vehicle I have has either power coming from the battery and individually going off to everything, which is kind of a mess. So I try not to do that. Or you'll notice me having these double chains, where I have one chain go down the left side, one chain go down the right side, and then they just bounce to all the various equipment as they go. And that's the reason for that. The reason I do that is because I've learned from experience that if you can take damage on one side of a vehicle, and if you have a component there that's basically the only thing in the chain, it's gonna cut the power there, and everything behind that's not gonna have power, or everything on the non-battery side is gonna lose power. So I like to have redundancies in my power grid throughout the vehicle. So I've created a loop. Even through this end piece, I've created a loop that goes all the way around and all the way back. And if something happens to this end piece, I have a bridge here. If something happens to this bridge, even though I don't know why it would, say this battery gets damaged, this one battery gets damaged, but these batteries are still okay. Well, we're still connected through here, and this battery is still connected through the loop that goes around the whole train. And it's actually connected right here as well, through here. So I have multiple crossovers, and I have multiple connections down the sides of the train, just to make sure that the grid is as redundant as possible and can't be taken out by one thing getting damaged. Um, so same with this. I should probably loop this here. So I have a loop coming down and around, and going back up to there. Now, if this component gets taken out, I have this component here getting power from over there. So you see that even this is a loop down here. So if this button gets taken out, even though I've used this button as part of the loop, there's still another attachment to this loop. So if this button can get taken out, this loop is still intact. This section here, and then this is excluded down here, which is crosses over here. So there's a cross right there through this one. So no matter what, there's a loop. There's a cross from side to side right here, cross from side to side right here, through there. So no matter what, if one component gets taken out, it doesn't take out my whole power grid. So yeah, this this train's looking. I gotta say, this is I'm having a lot of fun with this. But that said, I just got message that my little woman is pretty much ready to come online. So I am probably going to call it here. Sadly, before we get anything checked out or anything that before we get to test anything, I might continue this on my own. I might save it for another video. I'll try to save it for another video. But it depends on when I get back to this, because I am having a phenomenal time with this build. But I do want to spend time with my woman today, so because I didn't get a chance to yesterday. So that said, I'm going to put this on hold. I'm going to save, and we're going to call it a day for now. God, that looks nice. I mean, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but I made a nice looking frickin' train. At least I think I did. I don't know. Maybe you guys have different opinion on that, but I'm looking at this going, Jesus, did I build this? Did I? Is the king of blocky builds? Did I really build this? That's wow. That's crazy. And I've never built a steam train before. I don't even know if this thing's gonna work. So, yeah, I've never built a steam train. I have built nuclear powered steam. I have built coal powered steam turbines that I had run generators very very badly. So I've gone down the road of building something, like an electric generator that runs on steam, but I've never had a 100% steam vehicle before. This is my very first. So I'm really hoping it works, and I'm hoping it turns out. I just want to spawn it in to have a look at it. It's going to look so much better once it's painted. But Jesus, that's a machine and a half. I still have to put my customary back end on here because I'm missing my train connector there. And I want to be able to haul all of my train cars, so I always use the same connector. So this is going to work good. I'll just be able to go like this, throw coal in. So that's good. And then I can load coal back here. I can make a coal loader that maybe it'll be on a track, and maybe it'll have like an extension arm that'll kind of extend in here and drop coal in. That'd be kind of neat. But that's a thing I could set up. Maybe have it on tracks. Maybe have a tracked vehicle that loads up with coal and then can just drive it in and dump it. I am liking this cab design too. This is nice. I'm not really designing this often. I love that. I'm not really designing this off anything either. This is completely off the top of my head, just from remembering how trains look. Um, I haven't really like I don't have any pictures up on my second monitor or anything of what an actual train looks like. I'm just kind of winging it. But I think I'm doing good. I don't know. What do you guys think? Look at that friggin' thing. That's a beast. I just hope it drives like a beast. I hope it doesn't. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna actually, get a fire built up, and then I'm gonna start going down the track, and it only goes like 3 meters before running out of water, or it doesn't build up enough steam pressure to push a mouse out of the way. But I'm sure as hell hoping it's gonna be able to uh, to haul ass, as we say. Damn, that looks good. This is kind of one of those builds that's just fallen together. My builds don't usually do this. Like I said, my builds they usually go kind of blocky on me. But this thing looks nice. And once again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I'm just sitting here going, like staring at this, going, I built this. What? Like how did I build this? Like, I mean, it's wild. Like look at some of my other builds. Like I have other builds. Like this is a folding crane. Look at it. It's just it's boxy. There's no. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't work either. So because these things have broken physics like you can't imagine. They're absolutely horrible. And I tried to supplement them with a winch here, and that winch just manages to pull it so it flips over backwards. This has never worked. One day maybe I'll get a crane built, but I mean, look at most of my builds. Most of my builds are I can't load that because it's not the right area. But most of my builds are blocky and chunky. Like even this train here, which is kind of a fun little train. Even look at it. It's like flat windows and flats. It's blocky. It's chunky. It doesn't have that nice round feel to it that a train should have. I think the closest I ever got was that one train that I showed you yesterday. Was the um, where's this guy? This is the closest I ever got to having a train that looked half decent. And even looking at it, it's blocky. It's it's flat faced, flat sided. The roof is kind of yeah. It's blocky and chunky, and it really, I mean, it's got a generic train shape to it, but it's hardly an impressive looking train engine. At least when I'm looking at it, the paint helps. When it was completely white, it looked absolutely redonkulous. It looked horrible. And I can actually simulate. I can actually simulate that or emulate that real quick here. So replace black with whoops. Where's my replacement? I'm gonna undo that. Where's replace? Replace. Okay, replace black with white. Replace white with white. And there you go. That's the way it looked when I built it. Which, I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly. This is just a box with a rounded roof, and this is a box with a rounded roof. There's no the thing that makes it look like a train is the motor. The thing that actually makes the front look like a train is the motor that I have here. That's the only reason it looks like a train, and the fact that it's got a car attached to the back of it. That's other than that, it's kind of what that what the undo button apparently doesn't know how to undo because that's definitely not there. That's weird. I'm not saving it anyways, but But when I'm looking at this new guy, um, God, that looks like a train. That like really looks like a train. And I'm not used to doing stuff that actually looks nice.
So, I mean, again, I'm patting myself on the back here, but damn, I like it. Anyway, now you can get in my comments and let me know how deluded I am, and that it looks nothing like a real train. I am prepared. But anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I will try my best to save finishing it off for another episode, uh, and not just jump into doing it because I have a couple minutes here and there. Which sometimes that's how things go. Sometimes it's like, oh, I got a half an hour. Let's jump in and do a little bit of work on the train. I got 10 minutes. Let's jump in and do a little bit of work on the train. That's usually how things go. But I will try. I will try not to do that. I will try to save it for videos because I basically almost started this from scratch on a video. I mean, I had the wheels in place, and I had a little bit of a cab built. But for the most part, this is built completely on the video. So I want to kind of keep going with that. We'll make like a two-parter, three-parter series out of getting this train engine built. And maybe who knows? We have enough room here. There is enough room. If I shift the sucker forward, there's enough room here for a coal car. So maybe we'll build a coal car to go along with it. I don't know. That would kind of be fun. So then I can have my coal storage here, and I can have a coal car, attached to it already, and we can just drive around like that. Maybe I'll even make it a permanent connection to the coal car, and put the actual my regular connection back here, like I did with that other guy, like I did with the red one. Because this one, where's the red one? This one here, that's a permanent connection on the back here. I made you can't disconnect it. So I could do this, and you can see I pass electrical and whatnot through some actual lines that are permanently attached. So if I go into the logic and show you the ropes, I have lines on there, so they're actually attached. Um, and then you bring it in, you can see the lines are just like that. So this is a permanent attachment between these two cars, and I might do that with a coal car on the one that I'm building. I might make a small coal car behind it, um, and then I can shunt from the coal car to the engine as needed. I'll just make it easy to kind of grab from the coal car, because that's what they actually did with trains. They had a coal car behind the train. Didn't have the coal on it. Well, it had some. Like you'd have some coal on the side, just sitting on the side. Um, that has been shoveled in, so it's quick to get to. Um, kind of like how I have the coal storage on the side here. If you looked at old trains, some of them would just have coal just shoveled into the corner, like on the side here by the firebox, and you can just shovel in, shovel in, shovel in, shovel in, and then when they would have somebody back here who would be shoveling from the coal car to keep that pile refreshed, um, or the same person would shovel from the coal car onto the train or onto the engine. So you'd have the guy shoveling the coal onto the engine, and then so he would have a nice pile there, and then as needed he would just shovel it in, shovel it in, shovel it in. When it got low, when the pile here got low, he would shovel it from the coal car onto the train, and then when needed, he'd shovel it in, shovel it in, shovel it in. Um, so this is kind of realistic having the coal storage on the side here, but having a coal car behind it would be cool too, so that I would have additional coal that I can bring in. And then of course I will definitely have a water fill. So there's going to be a port that I'm going to put on here on the side, probably like here, maybe somewhere here, or maybe to make it look nice, I'll have it like here facing forward. Um, Now the only problem with supplying water is it's got to be fresh water, or you'll start to have problems. As far as I know, it's got to be fresh water, or you'll start to have problems. So, um, um, what was I saying? Oh, if I'm just grabbing water from anywhere, which I might end up doing, I will probably need to build in desalinization into the train, and that's going to be a pain in the ass. But it's possible. It's possible to do, but it's going to be a pain in the ass. Um, so what I might do is I might have a winch. Since I have floor space there, what I might do is I might put a winch here, like right here. It kind of goes inside, but it won't. So I can hide a winch there, and you'll see that here. I can if I put a winch right on the side here. You see how the hole's in the bottom? So if I put a winch on the side here like this, and have dangling like I'll have dangling a fluid port, so I can use pumps to suck in water, salt water, and then what I could do is I could invisible the pipe here and have it go basically underneath into this space down here, and I could build a small desalinization plant here in this area. It's not going to be very big. It's probably not going to process a lot, but you have these desalinization tubes, and all you really have to do is push the water through them. There's nothing to them. You just push the water through, and you get fresh water on the other side. So all I would need is a pump to suck the water up, and then push it through these, and I'll end up having fresh water, and I can supply the train with fresh water from salt water. So basically, anywhere on the track that has water, I can just drop a line into the water and start pumping up salt water. Have it cleaned and put into the water storage in the train. So I mean that's a way I can go. I can go that way, and I can even stack these guys up in. I can have like a set of them here. Like I can put six here, like three here, three here, three across the top, and then down a little bit, I could put another set of three and three, and I can have the bad water come in on this side, the good water go out on this side, because I can. These are just blocks. These are just straight up blocks, so I can put piping in these blocks. So I could have clean water run down or fresh water run down this side. I can have dirty water or salt water run down this side, and I could have a series of these guys up the middle. All I would need to do is leave a space in between them for the pipe outs. So I could probably put 12 of them in here. I could put six up here, and I could put six back here, and that'll let me clean a whole lot more water all at once. Um, but I think that'll be a good idea to go ahead and do that. So it's basically going to be like a set of tubes at the back here. So if I add another layer here, and then I put the desalinization lines or pipes. If I do like this, oh, is this the out? No, that's the in. Damn it. So if I go like this, and then I leave two spaces for pipes. So I leave a space for the pipe out, a space for the pipe in. Now I put another series of them like this. Is that out? That's in. Dang it! I always get the wrong way. So then I put another series like this, stacked back here, and I have the outs and the ins. I could probably clean a decent amount of water. Do I? I might even have. Well, I don't think I have room for a third set, but no, I don't. But I could clean a decent amount of water. I could pump in salt water here and clean a decent amount of water to refill these tanks. And really, I can refill these tanks from any side. So I could even fill them from the gap I had to put in here for this. I can put my fill right here even on both sides. I can put my fill right here for both sides because water coming into here will flow both directions. So if these tanks are getting empty, all I got to do is shut down, fill it up, fill the tanks up from here, because it'll, like I said, water will go both ways through the tank system. It won't go past here because I have one-way valves at the end here to stop it from backflowing. But it will fill the tanks. And then I'll have to put I'll put an air exhaust on the tanks just so they can breathe. I'll probably slip that in like right here maybe. I'll put a T here, or even over here I can put a T here, because I'll have a water filter this way, I'll have a gas filter this way, and just cap it off with an end piece, and that'll exhaust any air out of the system. I'll have to do it on both sides though, so I can do it right here, no problem doing it right here. I just have the gas valve on this side, have the gas valve on this side over here, plus a one-way. I need a one-way as well, so because I don't want air going back in. So I'll have a gas valve, a one-way valve or a one-way thing here, and then the end cap. So air, if I'm filling these tanks, air can be pushed out this way or it can be pushed out the other way, just to make sure that, you know, or it can be pushed out here, just to make sure that, you know, it's water in our system and not air, because we don't want air going into our boiler. We want water going into our boiler. So, and we want fresh water. So we'll have this little pickup on the side here that we'll be able to just run the line down into the nearest lake or nearest river or nearest ocean or whatever. We'll be good. So that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna leave that right there, and I'm gonna leave the pipes inside there so I remember what the hell I'm doing, because I think that's a good idea. So we'll leave all that for now and come back to it another day. So thanks everybody for watching. This is Jodian signing off. I will see you next time. Take care and have a good one.